So, ladies and gentlemen, now we know the Susan Rice infamous January 20th, 2016, just moments after President Donald Trump is sworn into office. Susan Rice sends an email to herself saying, don't worry, this whole Spygate thing, Barack Obama investigating people using and weaponizing government to spy on his political opponents. Don't worry. He told everybody do it by the book. There you go. Case closed. Show's not over because that is just the beginning. There was something very suspicious, however, about that email. There was a large block of it redacted. Now we know why. Before I get to the redactions, we put up this Washington Examiner article. Be in the show notes today. Please check it out by the great Jerry Dunleavy. Bongino.com/newsletter. You can check out the show notes. Here's a little summary of what happened with this thing. Fully declassified Susan Rice email reveals reluctance to share sensitive Russia information with Mike Flynn. Interesting. Now, remember, Susan Rice, who was Barack Obama's national security advisor, and ladies and gentlemen, she's not knee deep. She's waist deep, if not neck deep, in all of these Spygate malfeasance. Remember what I said to open up the show today. Mike Flynn knew, Susan Rice knew, and Susan Rice knew Mike Flynn knew. Keep that in your head as we go along here. This whole use of the dossier and political information to spy on the opponents, Susan Rice knows everything. Now, Susan Rice is a documented, known fraud and an absolute liar of the highest order. Susan Rice has lied about Benghazi, the Bo Bergdahl situation. She was an Obama mouthpiece. Here's the problem with Susan Rice, from what I've heard. Maybe not a problem for her, but the problem for sane people out there who had to listen to Susan Rice. I'm hearing from insiders that Susan Rice was one of the few people in the Obama administration towards the end that was willing to go on camera. There were a few and lie, knowing she was lying about the Benghazi situation, Bo Bergdahl, and elsewhere. She was just basically a puppet for Obama to go and put false information out there so Obama wouldn't have to embarrass himself. They sent Susan Rice out there. Here is Susan Rice in a clip you've probably seen 1,000 times today, but worth repeating here. Very short, a clip of Susan Rice on PBS. When asked about the unmasking and stuff we all now know happened, matter of fact, we know Susan Rice's name was on an unmasking request for Mike Flynn. Here's Susan Rice outright lying about this whole thing. Check this out.
During the transition after President Trump had been elected, that he and the people around him may have been caught up in surveillance of foreign individuals and that their identities may have been disclosed. Do you know anything about this?
I know nothing about this.
Okay, that's a lie. That's just a lie. She knows she's lying because her name is on some of the unmasking requests. But, okay, you got all that. You know the background. Now let's give you the original Dan Bongino content, but you're not going to get anywhere else, and explain to you the details of what really happened here. Why is Susan Rice in an absolute panic right now? Trust me, she is. Behind the scenes, they don't know what to do right now. Let me refer back to Sidney Powell, who we'll have on. I'll ask her about this during our interview. You're not going to want to miss this. We'll launch it probably on Friday. We'll record it tomorrow, Thursday. So check this out. This is a legal brief Sidney Powell, she filed. And I want you to read this footnote because it's very important. She says a letter delivered by the British Embassy to the incoming national security team after Donald Trump's election and to outgoing National Security Advisor Susan Rice. The letter apparently disavows former British Secret Service agent Christopher Steele and calls his credibility into question and declares him untrustworthy. Ladies and gentlemen, they had a problem. What happens after the shock election victory of Donald Trump? Barack Obama's national security advisor, Susan Rice, who's been involved with Barack Obama the entire time, him and the Clinton team are involved in the spying operation using FISA warrants to spy on Trump's team through the FBI. They know it relies, follow me here, absolutely 100% on this dossier they got from Christopher Steele, which is fake. After the election, from what I'm getting from sources, this is important, critical moment in the show here. The United Kingdom freaks out. Their intelligence services realizes that they've been involved in this spying operation and they thought Hillary would win, that benefited Hillary. Hillary didn't win, and that now the incoming president is going to find out just how deeply involved the United Kingdom was in this. The United Kingdom is itching now to separate themselves from this former intelligence member, Christopher Steele, and they then send this letter to Mike Flynn, which Sidney Powell's already acknowledged in a legal brief. We know it's there. They send this letter to Flynn, who's the incoming National Security Advisor. He probably gets it in that December transition timeframe. Susan Rice is still in office. Obama's still in office till January. And they say, hey, this Steele guy, he's totally full of crap. What's the problem, ladies and gentlemen? It's obvious. Obama, Susan Rice, and her whole team been spying on Trump based on a fake document. Now even the United Kingdom is going to come out and disavow. They know they're in trouble. They know they've got nowhere to go. They've got no wiggle room. None of this has ever been corroborated. The Woods file on it shows that none of Steele's information was verified. They're going to have to admit eventually that they spied on Trump and his team with nothing. Donut, goose egg, zero. Dan, what does this have to do with the email? Well, Susan Rice knows that Flynn knows because Susan Rice got the same letter from the UK. Hey, the source you've been using to spy on Trump, he's totally full of crap. Susan Rice got the letter too. She knows Flynn has the letter. She must be telling Obama, we're in real trouble here. It's going to come out eventually. We spied on this guy and we have nothing. We're going to have to use all our apparatchiks in the media to get out and cover this thing up and then flip the script. Remember that Tucker Carlson uses this line all the time, and I strongly encourage you to commit it to memory because it's true. The left always accuses you of doing what they're doing themselves. Why? Because they know the media are complete, utter, malicious morons and terrible malfeasant actors. They know that. The left knows the media are either too stupid or too tactically engaging in malfeasance rather than misfeasance to know how to sift through narratives. The left knows all they have to do is say Trump was colluding with the Russians, and the media will do no homework and parrot the narrative, and then that will distract the general public from the real story, which was Obama had his team colluding with the Russians the entire time. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot emphasize to you, I don't want to get distracted here because it's going to be an important show. I cannot emphasize to you in strong enough terms how genuinely awful and corrupt the media is. I'm begging you, please ignore them. You have shows like this. You have writers like Chuck Ross and Dunleavy and Molly Hemingway and Sarah Carter and Solomon who are giving you the truth. The media are active conspirators in this entire collusion hoax.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud and follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.